Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to the session today on our, oops, just clicked the wrong way for a moment. Just welcome to our session on introducing our new version of Blueprint called Fresno. I can't see the screen, so Matt, would you mind admitting people? So just going ahead, it's going to be a short seminar. We've got some major changes to the application. We'll show you in the presentation and also in the application. It's not meant to be a training session. It's just an introduction into Fresno version, which we'll release this Friday. We will be sending out a plan to all of our clients just to give you when your upgrade will happen. If you can respond to that plan, and then we can lock in your upgrade. So that will happen within the next day. And as I said, the session will be recorded. We'll send the recording and the deck at the completion of the session. So let's put the limelight on the most important guest, and that would be Fresno. So looking at our roadmap, Fresno really did have a massive change around the UI. We modernized the main user interface, and that has been the large change in the application itself. We've added a couple of extra enhancements in there, but moving ahead, we look at our roadmap a couple of years ahead, and for the next version, we do have some ideas in ourselves and priorities based on technology changes and based on some functionality that has been listed in the past, but we would welcome your input. So please feel free to reach out to us here at Global Vision. If there's anything in your application that is extremely important to yourself, and it's something that you would like to see in the next version in Aleppo, please let us know. And that's something that we'll look to add. A lot of our functionality changes do come from you, our clients. So we appreciate your input into whatever you can share and whatever we can do to make the application tailored more to yourself, which is a little bit different than most vendors. Most vendors tend to just put out a roadmap and ignore the client. So we would welcome your input. So first off, we really did give a complete overhaul into the user interface. So the first screen that you see when you log in now is going to be a complete change. It's been modernized. It's got a very flexible menu structure. It's highly configurable, and it's icon based. And as we said, it's made it a little bit more modern. We've also added a little bit more streamlining in your ability to upload SCORM courses. So in the past, you would know how to upload a SCORM course. We've now put it as a single click. We've changed the way the licensing works for learning. So the learning license, we've now moved some of the items from a talent license into learning. So basically, you're going to get an upgrade, which will include areas around competencies and job profiling. Some of the things you don't see are the back-end improvements. So not able to show any of those. The system itself does get some performance enhancements based on latest technology, based on some of the libraries that are built in that we need to change. And we've done a heck of a lot of bug fixes. So not going to explain every one of those, but the team has worked to make everything work squeaky clean. And I'll show a few of those in there. And then what we've done is we've also future-proofed the LMS. Now, this is a whole topic in itself around a standard called XAPI. So in the talent license, you'll see what we've added in terms of XAPI and AI. So we've added some more functionality in there as well. But as I said, we're not going to teach you XAPI today, just going to show you a brief demonstration of how it looks. If there's any point in time anybody needs to ask a question, just raise your hand. Matt will be able to interject, tell me to stop talking for 5 seconds. We will answer the question if it's fairly short. If not, we'll add the question to the deck, and we'll distribute the deck at the close of the meeting sometime later today. So let's press ahead. So is introducing Blueprint Fresno. So as you can see, we've completely changed the interface in the front facing area. It's quite modern. It's brandable, it's color schemed, and it's configurable to yourself. So just to have a look on the front screen, but it's also better to actually have a look at the application itself. So why not just click in here? So here we have running live. I've already logged in, so I can expand my menu. I can expand and make it look a lot easier, and I can configure this menu around. I can move items up, down, add menu items, and everything that you see in the past, I've actually logged in, as you can see, as an administrator. Of course, if you log in as a learner, all of these will change. If you log in as a manager, your menu items will change. So as it did before, the only difference is that we've made it a lot more modern. Anywhere that you see a little pencil will be the areas that you can change. So I completely changed this nice text in here. If I wanted to add different links, I could do that. And I could also add menu items, very much like I could in the past. So being a nice fresh look, we've made this area here scrollable. So as I've got the courses, and then if I do go back into any of the other areas, I can expand my menus. Then you get to see the application as it was in the past. We've really just revamped the homepage. So everything else is now looking familiar, but you'll always come back into your homepage and into the new look. Got to get that little control out of the way. That's better. So a fair amount of work has been done in that, and we'll continue working on the UI moving forward. If things look a little bit slow, just apologize. I'm on a very low internet speed, so your system's not going to run as slow as you see things running in here. I'm based in Asia, and I do have a little bit of a slow internet every now and again. So that's really the major area that we did within the application. So giving you a nice new fresh look in the front, and giving you the ability to actually configure the system a little bit easier by yourself and make it your own is basically what we've done. Okay, so I'll switch over to back into the presentation area. The next area we really came up with, as we said, is the way of single publishing or quick publishing a SCORM course. So in your administration area, in your course list, you'll find this nice new little button here, which basically means quick publish. In the past, you really had this guy. You clicked on, you filled out a bunch of information about your learning item. Then you went into the resources tab. Then you uploaded a SCORM package, and that created your learning item. So what the team have done now is they've had this ability to say quick publish. All you're required to do is to find the location of your zip file for your SCORM, and it will inherit the title. So whatever your title is in your SCORM package will be here, but you can overwrite it. And then all you'll need is to hit the create the course. What will happen at this point in time is it will check to make sure that the SCORM package is acceptable. So if it's not a defined SCORM package, you will get a message to say that the package is not suitable. It will then make sure that it unpacks everything into the server in the right configuration and file structure. Then it will create and open up and give you the ability to do any other modifications to the item you like. You might want to add the catalogs, you might want to add the audience, you might want to put a workflow process in, very much like you did in the past. However, the first step of uploading the course is handled for you. So again, in the application, not going to do the upload because it might take me some time. But if I was down in a admin area, and if I did look at the course list, you will see that it's got this little publish button in here, and it is interactive. It's not really just a PowerPoint presentation. Everything does work. If I did have a SCORM file, I could load it. But again, being in my low-level connectivity, it'd probably take 20 minutes to upload my course where I am. So that was a significant enhancement in terms of making it easier to administer the platform. Everybody okay so far? I'll take that as a group yes. So we did move, as we said, we did move some of the areas from the talent area into learning. And this is around looking at job profiles and competency mapping and looking at where people are in a particular period of time. So in this screen, I've got a fairly complex matrix that'll basically say, here's a job profile. And for a job profile, these need these areas of competencies. And each area of competency can have one or more learning outcomes attached to it. So if you can complete the learning outcomes, one might be you must watch a video and then finish and complete and pass an exam. So that would be tied to your competency. If you do complete the exam correctly or on-the-job training or any type of training, you will be given a tick against this competency. And then you would then be able to view in a single view as a manager. In this area here, I can say which users gain which competencies against their requirements. And I can even look at my particular staff to say what training have they completed and what are they still yet to complete. So in a single matrix type view, you are able to plan, and this is very effective for L&D people to get a quick view and a quick overview to say, where are my gaps? What do I need to close? Where am I placing anybody at kind of risk because they don't have the skills or they haven't had that training? So very quickly, I'm able to visualize all of these. So once again, just to let you know that it's not a PowerPoint presentation. If I was to go in here, now there will be some training involved in this to upskill people, and we will look at doing some seminars in the new year to help you out. So you will see this new menu, and not in that guy. And you will learn how to drive this, how to set it up. Mine is fairly complex in terms of data because I have multiple industries attached into mine. So that's why you'll see a lot of area. It's very flexible. I can, if I like, just get rid of some things that I'm not looking at any point in time. So probably people in council don't need to be an aircraft engineer, so I can get rid of all of these. I can do those. And then I can just click, if I wanted to, I can trim it down to one particular area. So I could in here say, for client services, I can just click that, get rid of all the noise. Right, and trim it all back down so that I can then go and see exactly what this officer needs in terms of skills. I'm going to hide all these. I could save these as a profile. I just haven't saved them. And here I go. I can basically check and see what's required. You probably won't have hundreds of competencies like I do, so the screen might be a far more manageable. I could also click in here and say, give me the users versus the competencies. So here's my group, and here's my outcomes to say they're working on it. And if I really needed to, I can then switch it down into courses and say, give me particular people, and say I want to look for a person. And again, get learner 4. So if I wanted to see, I can actually see across any sort of course level at any job profile, how people are performing, and visualize very, very quickly what people need or what they need to close their gap on. So basically does give you, as a learning and development professional, a lot more insight into what's going on within your organization and in terms of what your people are doing and what is required. So that's going to be included now in the learning application. So no need to actually add into that. It will, as we do your upgrade, the license will add these components into your application. And as I've mentioned, we will look at doing some group training webinars on how to best get this area working for you and how you can actually take advantage of this addition. One of the things that we did look at as well, if you do log in as a manager, instead of seeing everybody in the list, you now will only see the people who are direct report. So as a standard search, if I'm logged in as a manager, this is my learner manager, nice profile. I only see people who directly report to me. So we've put in a hierarchical approach to what you can see in terms of people. Again, if I looked in the application itself, because I'm a main user, I can see everybody. But if I just sort of clicked on and found myself a manager, and as you may know that, if you look as an administrator, you can get to see everybody. This one has no privacy issues. It's just a test database. So if I look for my manager, it would have been simpler to look at that first. So I can grab anybody who's a manager, can log in as them. And you'll see that the icons basically say, here I am as my manager. If I wanted to have a look at any sort of people inside here, as a manager, I've trimmed down the menu. But if I really wanted to have a look at the people around, if I did any kind of reporting or anything on any people, I'd only get to see the people that I'm allowed to see. So in this list, I'd only get people who are learners. So in a live view, now I've only got the people who directly report to me. So that was a bit of a filter that we applied to make sure that the reporting hierarchy stays within your bounds. Okay, moving along at great pace. So some of the functional areas and some fixes that we looked at, there was a requirement from one of the clients to say that we needed a password lockout. So if we had somebody trying to attempt to log into the system, we wanted to say to give you a number of tries before you are locked out of the system. Then you can actually say, how long is that time that a person is going to be locked out for? You could have it so that an administrator would need to come in and unlock that account. So it's a little bit of an extra safety area where you don't have people trying to test themselves to get logged in. They will be locked out, whether they'll be brought back in at a time limit or whether they'll be brought back in by administration for them to actually put you in as well. That's your choice. So it's now in the configuration of the platform. Some of the other ones that people have asked for is they wanted to be able to award certificates in bulk. So you might be familiar with some of the other data loaders that we had in the application. So we've included a awarded certificate CSV file. So all we have to do is put the username, the email, the cert, and the date awarded, and it will bulk award everybody that certificate. One of the areas that looked at as well, if you are using the classroom section, and once you set up the classroom itself, you have the ability to put in a wait list. And the wait list basically says if it's full, somebody goes in to a wait list until there is a spot available. Previously, it was hard to make a change to that wait list. So now what we've done is we've added the ability in the course edit area just to go back in and change that wait list. So you might want to increase the maximum enrollments, or you might want to say, I've moved to a new classroom, I've got more seats so I can fit more people in. If I change this maximum enrollment, say to 20, and I do have people in wait list, if the wait list is automated, then those 5 people will automatically be added into the course. So a little bit more in the administration and streamlining. One of the requests was exporting of reports. So in most reports now, you'll see either an Excel, a CSV, or a HTML or a PDF export. So that's I think we've gone through all the reports and the ones that you create yourself in order to put these export components in. And then finally, there was a bit of a bug that says if you did actually go into a course itself and you did have a list of participants in a course, if you tried to do a search for first name or last name, it would only work on first name. So now it doesn't matter what you put in this search box, either first name or last name, you'll get the output for the course search. So that was one of the bug fixes that were identified. And so we've almost come to the kind of the end of where we've gone in the learning component. And now we'll look at how we've future-proofed the application in terms of keeping up with learning standards. And one of the new learning standards, or not so new, it's about 10 years old, is a thing called XAPI, or Experience API, or commonly known in the world as Zappy. And what we've done in Fresno is we've actually added the ability to incorporate Zappy within the LMS. Now, a lot of LMSs would use a separate system to do that. We've actually built it into Blueprint Talent. So what Zappy enables you to do, and we all know that SCORM will be able to say that Steve passed an exam. Zappy does a little bit more than that. It actually monitors anything and everything in the world. So it doesn't have to be within the LMS. You could have somebody fill out a performance review. And as you can see by this, Zappy makes just 3-word statements. So it's a subject, or what we call an actor. So here's me, Steve. I did something to something. So Steve completed an induction course. Steve entered a comment in social media. Steve looked up YouTube. So we're not limited to something that's inside your LMS. It can manage anything. And not to go into the technology in a big way, Peter can do that in seminars coming up next year. But Zappy is the way, basically SCORM on steroids. It gives you the ability to manage most of your learning items in a bigger way. And now I'll give you a scenario that has become very popular for Zappy. Right now, it's not possible for a SCORM course that is based as a video for you to see anything other than the fact that somebody launched the video, they spent X amount of time in the video, and they completed the video. That's what SCORM gives you now. What Zappy gives you is Steve launched the video, he scrolled from, or he seeked or moved forward from second number 20 to second number 2. Or he paused at this particular page for X amount of time. So Zappy is reporting on not only the completion of your learning item, it's looking at the experience that the user is having with that learning item. Now you might know, oh, well, that doesn't mean so much to me. But if I look at a Zappy statement, and you don't really have to understand all of these, this is me expanding the Zappy statement in what has been recorded in the application. And I can see that here's poor old Ishti, and he went from 0.26 to half a second. So he scrolled backwards. Maybe he didn't get something very well within this video. And that might be okay for one person. What if all of your users was doing exactly the same thing? What if all your users was pausing at one particular point in a video? You might hypothesize that something at that point in the video might be difficult to understand, or people had to go back over and over again within the video to understand the video more. This would help you in designing your courseware a lot more. You may be able to shorten a course. Maybe people are going through the course a little bit faster than they anticipated, and some areas might be constantly skipped. So in terms of building content, it may streamline the way you build content. Furthermore, even if it's a non-video course and it's a SCORM course, we can see if a person navigates directly page by page, or they skip forward 5 pages, or they roll back 10 pages. So you can actually look at the way people interact with your course as well. So we're collecting statements, but not only from courses. We could be collecting statements from somebody completing a performance review. It could be somebody that is operating a piece of machinery. The machinery itself can send an XAPI statement to your learning system. If you have multiple learning systems, all training can be sent to a central point for you to report on. So Zappy gives you the ability to actually collect data from multiple sources and then report on it. What we've further done within Zappy, we've got a whole bunch of data in Zappy, so we can collect and collect and collect. And Peter did a project not so long ago, and I think I'll probably quote it right. It was something like 500 million statements that were collected by this university. What you're able to do with this data is what we've done is we've analyzed the data. We look at the way people learn. So we're looking at the video interaction. We're looking at the way that they're navigating through things. We're looking to see if they're having issues with the learning. Now, most LMSs on the market have included AI. It's nothing new. Their AI is generally around telling you what learning needs to go next, or what should you learn if you wanted to be the CEO. What we differ inside Fresno is we're going to look to see, is it possible, based on the way that the learner is learning, will they be able to gain the skill or not? So it's okay giving people training, but if they're not able to understand that training and they will never gain that skill, that's what we call a person at risk. And the project that was done by Peter and the team at GVM was that a university was able to predict if a student was going to fail before they knew they were even in trouble, based on their learning patterns, based on their Zappy statements, and based on some AI that analyzed the way this person was looking. And it could say, this person's really in trouble. You might need to intervene way before they have a chance to do the exam and fail. So for us, using Zappy and AI in a more proactive way than just saying your next course is going to be X. So we will be building on those, and we will build this out within BP Talent. And Zappy is going to be a standard that's going to be embraced over the next few years. SCORM will not be replaced. Zappy will work in conjunction with SCORM. However, it gives learning and development professionals a lot more data and a lot more proof around even the return on investment of training, where you could qualify it a lot better down to the dollar value based on collecting data from multiple sources. So don't be afraid of Zappy. It's coming along. One of the important things is Zappy doesn't cost anything near as much as a learning system does. And in most cases, you can start Zappy for free. So there are no user limits. Users don't log into what we call the Learning Record Store. It just all gets added in. So there's no user licenses involved. So you could start very simply, very quickly, and very inexpensively. So as I said, not a lesson on Zappy. What I will do is we have about 7 or 8 information videos around Zappy and how it could be used. And I'll make sure I add those when we send out the email brief following the presentation. So I'll give you a little bit of the insight of what Zappy does. Okay, at this point in time, I'll open to any questions, and if we can't answer it during the session here briefly, I'll add your question into here and then send it out as a part of the presentation. So let's open the floor. Any questions? Is there anybody still here? Anybody?
Looks like you were very comprehensive by the sound of it, Steve. There have been a couple of questions in the chat, but we've answered those.
Okay. All right. So obviously I spoke too much.
Everyone's muted at the moment, just in case.
So if anyone has a question, I haven't group muted anybody, so you can unmute yourself and ask any questions.
Or you can answer it, or you can post your questions in the chat as the way we've been doing it. Or even share your thoughts and feedback. That'd be great as well.
Wow, stunned audience. All right. Well, if there's no further questions, as I said, we'll take the recording, we'll send it out, and we'll also send out an email with all of those links around the XAPI information as well. But please feel free to reach out to us at any time. So if there are no further questions, we'll close the session. Thank you, everybody.